last week left us with major questions about Gary's condition after the IV tampering. Let's dive into the big moments of this episode. Welcome to C2, where I review my favorite shows, podcasts, posts, and everything else I see that needs to be talked about. Today, we're breaking down Season 8, Episode 4 of Sistas, titled Showing Out. Andi and Hudson at the hospital. This scene sets the stage for heightened tension. Andi is determined to check on Gary, but Hudson, who is posted up at the hospital like Gary's security guard, is standing in her way. Their confrontation is filled with underlying tension as Hudson tries to assert control over who has access to Gary. Both Andi and Hudson are passing threats back and forth until Hudson lets Andi know that he can actually make good on his threats by grabbing her as she tries to go past him. Then we are introduced to Gary's real security guard, Officer Clyde. Where was he when someone was sneaking into Gary's room? Wait, I know. He was down the street getting his favorite breakfast sandwich. Anyway, Hudson reveals that he actually has power of attorney for Gary. Okay, now Hudson is really looking like a potential suspect. Having power of attorney, gaining control of everything Gary has could be a motive. But wait, isn't Gary broke? Look, it's clear that Hudson is not happy with all of Gary's actions, especially when it comes to Andi. But I'm like, Andi, why are you questioning the power of attorney? It's the perfect excuse to leave the hospital. She can have her attorney, Robin, handle that. Like, we all don't know that she only came to the hospital because Robin suggested it to make her look like a concerned fiance to the FBI. But of course, attorney Andrea Barnes ain't too bright. After Hudson basically put his hands on her to prevent her from entering Gary's room, 2 seconds later, he tells her she can go into the room. I'm like, Andi, come on. Don't go in that room. For a brief second, I was hoping for the first time ever, Andi would think like a lawyer, but of course not. Andi goes into the room. She is filled with emotions when she sees Gary. She started to reminisce about how things were in the beginning. She thinks back to the day he said that he left his wife for her. But of course, she didn't think about how his wife rolled up on them and almost took her out. Just when I was about to start shaking my head in disappointment with how gullible Andi is, Gary awakens and started having convulsions. And folks, that's where the episode ends. So we will have to wait until episode 5 to find out if Gary is still with us. Sabrina is accused of getting her former co-worker fired. Sabrina faces a difficult situation when she is accused of being responsible for a former colleague's firing. The accusation adds to the challenges Sabrina is already facing and reveals potential conflicts brewing at her workplace, which could have longer-term consequences. So in this episode, we get Sabrina at work with her bestie Maurice when Paige comes into the bank and accuses Sabrina of getting her fired. She claims someone reported lies about her to corporate, which lead to her getting fired. She also alleges that this is the reason Sabrina got the promotion. While I do think that Sabrina did deserve the promotion over Paige, I really hope that's not the reason she got promoted. But the accusation does sound like it has Maurice's name written all over it. Y'all know those words she had to look up are in Maurice's everyday vocabulary. I get that he was trying to help Sabrina get the promotion. She really deserved it, but not like that. Now her job may be in jeopardy. Sabrina is totally thrown off guard with this information because, of course, she had nothing to do with it. She didn't ask Maurice or anyone to intervene and help her get the promotion. I'm happy that Sabrina did stand up to Paige, but now she needs to check Maurice. When Sabrina was being honest with Maurice about how she felt, how she always put others first before her own well-being. While she was talking, I couldn't help but think, who is she talking about? She literally has to be talking about her friends. She didn't put Rich before her desire to have a child. She moved forward, even when she thought it would cost her the relationship. She put herself first with Calvin and even the relationship with her other ex-African billionaire. So who is she talking about? It's got to be her friends, especially Maurice. She's been 10 toes down for Maurice, no matter the cost. She even did a bit for him, although she was innocent. And now that she has her job back, he puts it in jeopardy with this little stunt. I like Maurice, he's funny, but I am so sick of him making stupid decisions that keep affecting Sabrina. I still think Sabrina needs some new friends. Okay, because everything that has happened to her that is negative has happened due to her friendships. Granted, she made the decision to go along with Karen and Danny to that shotgun wedding to try to save Andi. But regardless, that has led to her being interrogated by the FBI in an investigation. I'm going to say it again. Sabrina, you really need some new friends, or maybe you just need to spend some time alone. I also want to note that although Maurice said there was nothing right with Sabrina's outfit, her earrings are amazing. I have dropped a link to them in the description area. Karen and Pam deal with an unhappy customer. Back at the salon, Karen and Pam face an irate customer. Apparently, Roots to Riches is out here snatching up people's edges. Actually, I think this is just a money grab because girlfriend is acting like she'd been missing those edges for a while, probably before Roots to Riches was even an idea in Pam's head. Okay, but I can't get over the scene when she took off that hat, the look on Karen and Pam's face. I mean, they have more sympathy for this chick than they had for Gary when they actually thought he was unalive. I hope Karen has insurance because you know that she didn't have any insurance when her salon burned down. I'm hoping she has learned her lesson and has insurance. Now, I also hope that Root to Riches is LLC. I mean, Karen said that she was going to help Pam with the business plan. Let's hope that included starting an LLC. Karen, look, you have 2 children to think about now. You can't rely on Zach. He can go broke at any time. And we still don't really know what Aaron does. I know they say he's an accountant and pastor and prior military, but I haven't seen him anywhere but at Karen's spot and out playing basketball with the guys. Karen, I need you to get it together. You have been out here talking about your business degree, so put it to use. This is Intro to Business 1101. Danny's disagreement with Tony. In this episode, Danny's relationship with Tony hits a rough patch. Look, every time I give this character Danny credit, I end up having to take it back. So in this episode, we have Tony, who I don't 100% agree with, who tried to do something that he thought was, a good thing to help Danny. And then you have Danny, who, in my opinion, overreacted due to her insecurities. Now, I do agree that Tony should not have made that decision to enroll her into the leadership program without consulting her first. But it takes a level of maturity to actually look deeper to understand why Tony did it. I think because Danny has so many underlying issues, triggers, and insecurities, she can't see the good in people. I honestly don't think that Tony was trying to do anything out of malice. I mean, it wouldn't even make sense if they have been in a relationship for a long period of time, which we don't know because we didn't get to see that on the show. This relationship was fast-tracked, unlike Karen's pregnancy. I mean, it went from Danny and Tony meeting each other, then all of a sudden they're in this committed relationship, and my guy Preston is just out. But we have seen Tony make these major steps. He has literally opened up his life completely. He's introduced Danny to the kids. I mean, he trusted her to look after his kids, which I think was a huge mistake, but I get it. He's making moves like a man with good intentions. This is what you would expect when a man is looking towards a future with someone. Honestly, I don't like the way he handled the leadership program situation, but I understand the good intentions. And I honestly don't think he deserves the wrath that he got from Danny. He was nothing but apologetic. It's clear that he just wants to help Danny. She has shown how insecure she is about his ex. I hope he don't think that he can help her with that. I think he has already helped by recommending therapy. The only other thing he can do is give her the space to heal and grow. Danny is not ready for a serious relationship, and Tony needs to back up and just be her friend. In fact, I think that if they continue to pursue anything deeper, it is going to lead to more damage for Danny and possibly Tony. She already have insecurities when it comes to his ex and his kids. I mean, she's correlating everything that this guy does to his ex-wife. I really think that this relationship is not going to survive unless he gives her space and time to heal. She is not there. She is way too selfish to be in the life of his children. I mean, she literally brought his children into this disagreement, which was so immature, just really immature. She's not protective of his children. I would never introduce my children to someone who wouldn't protect them. She is not protective of his career, not just for him, but for the children that he has to take care of. Fatima is usually composed and professional, at least at work. But in this episode, she finds herself in a tense conversation with Robin. Okay, so Fatima, when you are at work, girl, I don't care if they say that you could talk candidly with them. You can't really ever do that. I'm kind of disappointed in Fatima because she normally moves much smarter than this. That whole conversation with Robin was a bad move. If you suspect that someone is involved in an unaliving, then you don't just tell them. You keep your suspicions to yourself and collect the evidence to support your claim. Sherlock homegirl, but for real, I'm gonna need Fatima to either fast track it through law school or go ahead and send her resume out, call up some of her contacts, maybe Angela, and find another firm to work at. Not because of Robin, but because she knows she will not be able to deal with Hayden. Look, I'm not on the show and I can't deal with Hayden. Like, that's just impossible for anyone. And Zach is gonna catch his 100th case trying to deal with Hayden. Look, I just have one question for Zach. Why are you gonna bring Fatima a mid-morning snack and sit there and eat it in her face? Like, really? Then you offer her a bite of her own sandwich. Then you proceeded to eat it all and tell her that it was good. But did you hear what Fatima said? She said she was feeling nauseous. Sounds like they will be announcing that she is pregnant on Sistas. I mean, you already know if you watch the Fatima. I'm so ready for these two shows to catch up to the same timeline. So after this episode, I have added Hudson to the suspect list. But there is just one problem. When Gary was attacked at the wedding, Hudson was out front with Andi and the wedding official. So did Hudson make the first attempt? If so, what was his motive? If he didn't make the first attempt, what would be the motive to make the second attempt? I don't know, but it really seems like he was trying to set Andi up to go in the room with Gary after the IV incident. It's like he knew that Gary would react to the IV tampering when Andi went into the room. It looks like Andi is being framed. And I'm starting to question if Robin is in on it. He was the one who sent her to the hospital. Hudson has a lot of hate for Andi, and I'm wondering if it's on Gary's and Robin's behalf. Even though Robin was back at the office, he is acting a little weird. We saw a preview for the next episode, and it looks like Andi is panicking. So I've been trying to hold off on making any predictions until I get a little bit more information. But I mean, I've already eliminated a good bit of suspects and I'm looking closer at a few. There are 3 people that have been unaccounted for during the first and second attempt on Gary. You have Tamara, who we haven't seen since episode 2. Honestly, I don't see Tamara trying to take Gary out, now exploiting and blackmailing. Yes. She created a fake video to blackmail him. That's her MO. Then you have Penelope, who definitely had the motive. She could have snuck out of FBI custody to do the deed, but I don't know if she would be able to get away from the FBI unnoticed twice. Then you have Jordan, who I haven't seen all season. Right now, he's high on my suspect list. I need to look him in the eye to determine if he is guilty. We also have Mrs. Marie. I just don't see her getting her hands dirty. I think she has other methods and resources to handle these types of situations. She could have just paid Gary off. She didn't have to hire someone to unalive him. She also has connections, so she could have made Gary someone else's problem. I mean, she could have paid someone to get rid of him permanently, but if she did, she needs a refund. And besides the person who did the first attempt, mostly likely knew Gary. I don't think it was the mob because they would have done the job done right the first time. I really don't think it was a professional on the first attempt. The person who made the first attempt got up close to Gary, so he didn't think that the person was a threat. The second attempt seems more professional. It almost seems like there are 2 different suspects. I haven't ruled out Gary's ex. She's not on anyone's radar. She is definitely capable of the acts, and she has tried and failed in the past. After watching episode 4, who do you think tried to unalive Gary? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss any of our reviews. I'll see you next week for more Sistas drama right here on CTube.